Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video covering two new items from Chilkey. This is the Slice75 HE, which is a pre-built Hall effect board coming in at only $149 with the switches, with the keycaps that you guys will see here. And I have the Glacier LW 8K. Now, the Glacier mouse, I will get to that in a little bit. But my thoughts, my impressions, my feelings are much stronger with respect to the Slice75 HE. I think this is the best pre-built Hall effect board that you guys are going to have on the market right now at $149. I haven't tried everything on the market, but I would be surprised if anything was going to beat my feeling on the Slice75. You guys can see it's got a beautiful, hefty, all aluminum case that has a nice gray tone color here. You've got the Chilkey logo with kind of a see-through, what seems to be like an acrylic little glass window there. The two-tone keycaps in gray as well as black with beautiful, very strong and potent RGB. But you've got a 75% layout, the F key on top, and most importantly, coming with those Gateron magnetic Jade Pro switches, 8,000 hertz polling. I've got about 50 hours of gaming in this thing. I hit top 500. I think I'm like ranked 300 in Fragpunk, but I'm kind of done with Fragpunk, transitioning back over to a few other titles. But my performance on this has been absolutely incredible. It feels exceptionally fast, very responsive, and it has all the Hall effect things that you want out of a keyboard nowadays. You've got snap tap or SOCD, you've got rapid trigger, and everything feels fantastic. I'll show you guys the web driver in a second, but the reason why I think so highly of the Slice75, and I mean, the packaging here is beautiful as well. On the inside, you just get a switch puller, a cable, not a whole lot of goodies on the inside of the box. But at $149, again, a absolutely hefty, premium feeling all metal case, aluminum, beautiful edges here on the side of the case, beautiful backing that kind of looks like a broken up glass or ice, excuse me, on the back of the board. You can see just those beautiful angles here, but an exceptionally nice looking board with that two-tone gray and black keycap. But what's cool is you can actually just take off the case on the top with ease. So if you need to access, and you guys can see that Chilkey logo again there on the top of the board, but if you guys have to access anything on the inside of the board to modify, it comes off so easy. You can see the silicone bead gasket mounting here and the aluminum plate, but the thing that makes this just feel so nice from a typing perspective as well as a gaming perspective, under that aluminum plate, you guys can see there you've got that cork layer and then a very thick foam layer under the PCB. This thing just feels and sounds incredible, but easy to pop off, easy to pop back on, and you are ready to go. I love that feature. If there's ever anything that you need to modify, or if you want to get inside and do any tinkering, add any foam, etc., it's just so easy to do. But at $149 with this premium of a package, that cork layer, and the performance that I'm getting out of this board, it is kind of a no-brainer. Again, I've looked at a few new keyboards recently. I've built out the GT60, the Venom PCB. I've built out the new, the Z platform from Arbiter. I mean, the performance here that I'm getting is definitely equal to or mirroring that I'm feeling on those other boards from a human perceivable subjective level. But the typing experience here is better than anything that I would be able to accomplish out of building my own boards. And I think it's just because of that cork layer and that nice gasket mounting. The board doesn't give way a whole lot with that gasket mounting. It flexes in a little bit. I actually prefer that. I like having a little bit of a firm experience during my gaming sessions for my keyboard. But overall, just how it sounds and how it feels in use is the highlight of the show. But I mean, it's just that myriad of factors. I mean, $149, all metal case, very premium, and those layers there to make it sound and feel as good as it does, and just the overall aesthetic. I mean, I'm impressed with the Slice75 HE, but I'll show you guys a little bit of that web driver just to navigate through so you guys can see what settings you have there and what's available. And to give you guys a little sound test. Just going over it quickly, this is how the WebDriver looks. You've got 4 different profiles here that you can choose from. You have your lighting features with dynamic, static, custom, brightness control, speed control, and all sorts of different presets. You can set the sleep time to have it turn the RGB off. Under performance mode, you can select your switch here for some switch optimization, calibration features. Under advanced settings, you've got dead zone settings, as well as selecting your polling rate, rapid trigger settings. You can see here everything that you can set up for reactuation, deactuation, the first stroke. And then your global travel, you can set as low as 0.005. You have some remap functions here for different FN layers, and a macro manager and update for any firmware updates. So fairly easy to navigate the WebDriver for the Chilkey Slice75. Up next, I have the Glacier LW 8K. This is Chilkey's first mouse, and it's a pretty good first showing from Chilkey. It's a interesting mouse. To me, it kind of shape-wise seems like it takes inspiration from something like a G Pro Superlight in its swooping and its hump, but it is a lower mouse and it does taper inward on the sides quite a bit more, making it feel less potato-ish and a little bit more like you have a pretty tight grip and more narrow grip in comparison to the G Pro Superlight. You can see it does have an OLED screen here on the mouse that looks pretty cool, and it has these ridges on the left side of the mouse. I think the ridges are really more aesthetic because my hand doesn't hit them at all with a fingertip grip or with a palm grip. I don't feel the ridges, so it's kind of a cool aesthetic look, one that doesn't impair or affect my feel or performance at all. Objectively speaking, the mouse is fantastic. It has a 3950 sensor, it has a Nordic MCU, and it has optical switches. So it has a lot of punch in terms of its overall internals with respect to its performance. 8K performance that I didn't feel like I had any issue with. Now, my things that I don't necessarily like, it has Chilkey Purple Ghost optical switches. To me, the optical switches kind of feel like a poor implementation of ratio switches. They don't feel crisp and responsive, and that could just be because I've been using my Magnesium Beast Pro for the past week, which just has very crisp Omron optical implementation. Here it just feels like a little bit more of a budget-sided optical implementation, so a little bit hollow and not as crisp and detailed as I would like in Mouse 1 and Mouse 2. Now, in terms of the overall build quality, though, Mouse 1 and Mouse 2 have very little side play. You can see Mouse 1 and Mouse 2 barely move. I have no switch grinding. The scroll wheel is a TTC encoder that feels fantastic, and Mouse 3 is very spammable and feels great even in comparison to a lot of top mice that are in my rotation right now. I could spam that thing all day. It feels fantastic. The side buttons are using TTC switches as well. The side buttons actually feel super crisp and very responsive. The build quality here, basically no pre-travel and very minimal post-travel on these side buttons. If you hit them on the edges, they do lift and tilt a little tiny bit, but nothing of great concern, and the location of the side buttons is actually perfect with the resting position of my thumb. So a pretty cool looking mouse and a pretty interesting shape if anybody was looking for something like that, a kind of smaller G Pro Superlight that tapers in on the sides. It doesn't feel like a potato shape, so it's very different than a G Pro. But again, just for reference sake, it's something that you can kind of get a sense by looking at the two. But again, you can see how those sides swoop much more drastically in comparison to a G Pro. You've got Bluetooth and 2.4 connectivity, and the skate design's pretty interesting. You've got a larger skate on the bottom, a more minimal on top, and then you have 4 dots on the middle of the mouse, which is open to save on some weight. Again, 50 grams, and it is pretty well weight balanced. So the things that I just don't really feel compelled with are the overall shape for me. It wouldn't be something that's in my main rotation. And the coating, I just don't find to be nearly as good as some of the more premium releases like the Viper V3, the XM2. It does build up a little moisture and just doesn't really maintain its grippiness during long hours of use. And those main switches, to me, just don't feel quite as nice as they could. The OLED screen is cool, but it's nothing that I would ever use. And when you do drag your finger down mouse 2, you can feel that ridge a little bit. If you ever bring your fingers that far down, that could get annoying to you because there is a little bit of a height difference with where that's placed in comparison to the plastic. But the OLED screen's pretty cool. I mean, you get a lot of detail, what mode you're on, your hertz polling rate, your DPI, all the essential information. And there is a DPI button on the bottom of the mouse where you can change that on the fly. So overall, like objectively speaking, it's got a lot packing into it. It's at a great price. Again, I think it's only like $79 or $89. So if you think the shape could work for you, you know, certainly if you've been looking for something with an OLED screen, you could give it a try. But for me, like the coating, the switches, the overall shape, it's just not really something that I would find myself going back to. But a great entry option, a great first mouse from Chilkey in terms of its overall package. And again, the Hall effect board is just, for me, it's a pretty damn compelling purchase. So check out the Slice75. I think it's fantastic. But guys, that is going to be it for this one. I hope it helped. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.